Welcome to Beating Cancer Daily. Beating stage 4 cancer for 30 years still takes my breath away every time I say it. I'm Saranne, founder of the ComedyCures Foundation, and I hope you'll join me for just a few minutes daily for the next 365 days so we may laugh, learn, maybe cry a little as we live our best days beating cancer daily together. I had an unbelievable situation. Believe it or not, last night I was at an event and a man walked up to me and he said, "I want to apologize to you." And I said, "For what?" And he said, "I didn't get it." And I said, "What do you mean you didn't get it?" And he said, "I didn't get the comedy piece. When my wife was dying, I didn't get what you did and I didn't let you in. And she passed away and I didn't understand why ComedyCures was so successful and why what you do is sought after. And your comedians are sought after in this situation of dramatic illness." And he went on to explain a very personal story. He was in a bereavement group, and a woman came into the bereavement group and was hilarious. And he thought it was so inappropriate, but he would laugh, but he thought it was inappropriate. And she kept coming in, and he started to think she was so funny that she must be a professional comedian who's a ringer in the bereavement group that the bereavement group paid to come in and make everyone laugh. And she probably really didn't lose her husband. And this was all just fake. But she kept coming back and he kept laughing. And then he got to know her and realized that she wasn't a professional comedian. She was just hilarious, and that she really did lose her husband, and that humor was her coping strategy. And I kid you not, they are dating now. They are dating. And I got to meet her, and she came and explained to me the situation. They told me the story together. I had tears in my eyes and chills. And they explained how he really was put off at first. And then he now realizes not only is having a sense of humor, particularly in grief and bereavement, but in illness, such an incredible coping strategy. And he felt that he owed me an apology. Can you believe that? And
That's amazing.
he validated everything and anything that I do through the ComedyCures Foundation, but wanted to personally apologize for not letting me into their dynamic and their family situation at the time.
First of all, it's mind-blowing. I've got goosebumps everywhere. And second of all, the beauty of him seeking you out, that's almost a divine moment. It's just the most amazing thing. Like, he never had to tell you that.
He looked so different. And I said that to him. I said, "I can tell you've been completely transformed because the way you wear your hair, the clothing you're wearing, the lack of seriousness on your face." He had a case of seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, he is a doctor. And so it transformed him personally, socially, how he grieves, how he approaches the world, how he's a doctor now. And we spent such a huge amount of time really honoring his transformation. And I just was so happy for him. Like, I didn't take it personally that he didn't want to experience the ComedyCures Foundation and that he didn't want to come to a program and that he didn't want to hear what we teach on this podcast, which is how this could help. And not, he didn't want to listen to comedians. Now it's completely open. He is completely
Amazing.
available for this kind of healing and this kind of work. And I just really wanted to share it with you.
I am so glad that you did, because as comedians, we know not everything is for everybody, right? And it's easy to take that. Like, if you don't think my jokes about being a mom are funny, I can live with that, right? Then when you take it to this whole part about healing and helping people, you understand where people would be like, it just feels wrong, or I there's nothing that I can find funny, or I feel irreverent, or whatever the block is. To then get to see somebody that, again, suddenly was like, not only did I get it, I need you to know that I know I pushed it away. I know that I was like, nope, this is not for me. This is not for this situation. And now I've let it come in through the cracks, and I'm living differently. And that's amazing.
Yeah. And look, grief takes a long time.
Oh,
You never heal from losing
mm-mm.
a loved one, especially a spouse of so many years. But to see this new relationship that literally germinated through a sense of humor of another grieving person. And they were so tickled that he thought she was a shill. You could see that it
Right.
still gave them incredible joy today to think of the fact that he thought she was so funny. She was a professional comedian. I offered her to come to a ComedyCures event and learn more about being a professional. And she was like, no. And I was like, no, or at least let me help you go to an open mic night. And she was like, no, I just do it spontaneously. But look, a healing relationship was born out of it. So
That
it's so special.
it really is. And when you think how differently the trajectory of that gentleman's life, it could have gone a whole different way. He could have had years of just misery. And just like we've talked about, fear and sorrow and faith can all live in the same place. Grief and joy can live in the same space
Yeah.
too.
And humor.
And
And
that's what I was gonna say. And for me, for me, joy is humor. I forget that there's other forms of joy, because for me, laughing is just such a robust thing.
yeah.
But they can happen at the same time. And I'm so glad he realized that.
Yeah, it was pretty powerful. It
Yeah.
was one of those moments that I will never forget. It was so gracious of them to tell me their story, and but
Yes.
I never needed an apology in any way. I wasn't offended. Some people just aren't ready yet. It's too
Sure.
soon, or they just don't see the pathway. And that's why I think this podcast is so important. And that's why I think you being on the podcast is so important. And again, I urge you to listen to all of Missy's episodes. If you haven't heard them, just go into wherever you listen to podcasts or the ComedyCures website and put in comedian or Missy, and her episodes will come up, because I think that how we're gently, episode after episode, just slightly teaching comic perspective really gives people something to play with and practice. And they might never have had the exposure to what we're talking about. And so I'm just really grateful that you just keep coming back.
I am too. And I love to think of somebody listening to this and getting some giggles.
Finding your funny bone and developing your comic perspective can happen at any time. It is such a useful tool to develop. And I just thank you, Missy, for being part of this conversation. If you have become funnier or thought funny thoughts because of this interaction with Missy Hall, or just listening to Beating Cancer Daily, I would love to know. I would love to know if you are getting a lot of tools and tips out of our conversations and out of the episodes, Your feedback is so valuable to me. And we actually develop episodes based on listeners typing in at ComedyCures.org in the contact menu or recording a message to me through the record button, which you find under the podcast section. I love hearing from you. So have a blessed day. Thank you, Missy. And I will see you tomorrow. If you've enjoyed this podcast, then I'd love to ask for you to go to ComedyCures.org and check out our membership circle levels. You will find even more resources and more programming, like our live virtual Q&A sessions with me, our live Comedy Cures events with our very talented comedians, live health builder workshops with Jackie Bryan, hosted by me, a robust monthly newsletter, plus much more. It's really an exciting community. So please consider becoming a member, giving it as a gift, telling your friends, telling your hospital support group all about this community. I can't think of a more empowering way to go through a cancer journey or your survivorship or your caregiving experience than with us at Beating Cancer Daily. It's truly an honor to serve you. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Guess what time it is? It's time for me to read the disclaimer. Beating Cancer Daily and the membership circle are not in lieu of medical advice or treatment. They are for entertainment purposes only. Please consult your healthcare team to review your best strategy. Thanks for listening.